solutions that they're talking about, the remedies, and in particular, the idea that depositors were going to have to write down the deposits. Initially, last week, they were talking about small depositors, and I think the metastasis elsewhere in Europe would have been disastrous.
Well, is it any less onerous going after big depositors? The precedent is a precedent, right?
I totally agree with that. I think it's a really, really bad idea to do that, because I think what it does is it makes it much harder for places like Italy and Spain, if they have problems like this, to actually figure out how they recapitalize, particularly if you're talking about doing things that are going to drive investors away. So I think the way it was handled was really unwise, which is why I think you see the Europeans coming out the way they are. But yeah, I mean, I think this shows that the European Union is much, much weaker than we thought, because it doesn't really have the capacity to deal with the problems that are so varied from country to country. Yeah. And I mean, if you contrast it with what happened in our country, if you contrast it quickly with what happened in our country, I mean, we had a crisis, but we had a TARP system that worked actually very well. The taxpayers actually made money on this. I don't think they're using anywhere near the kind of imagination that we actually used in 2009.
Well, I actually disagree. I mean, we bail it out in this country just as they're talking about bailing out in Europe, just as, for example, Greece has been bailed out no less than 3 times in the last 3 years. I mean, what would be a better solution is to follow down the path of Iceland, which actually went bankrupt, declared bankruptcy, and
no, they did. You're right about it. No, they did. Sabrina, though, I'm wondering if they don't get the money, if they don't get the money they wanted from those large depositors, and a lot of them, let's say, go. They obviously have to go down, as I said, the food chain and go after those other depositors, right?
Right, through electronic debits, right into people's savings accounts. And I think that's the question that people are asking here at home is, could we possibly face something like that here at home? I don't think we're quite as vulnerable, but I do think that if we don't get our own spending problem under control, that our savings, which are in effect a way that people show self-control, and then they put things off that they need now until later, I think that people are going to see that their savings are going to be depleted